Hi everybody, this is John and welcome to the free video. And yeah, we got an interesting quiet market today on Monday. So the weekly squeeze here is already triggered on IWM, and as is the daily. So that's super bullish. We could get a very normal pullback here to 124.45. So that would be, let's actually look at the futures here, see what kind of a point that would be. That'd be a pretty decent sell-off. You can see we've got some resistance here. And then if we take a look at like the S&Ps here, today was fairly quiet. You can see we've got a lot of strong support there at 2080. If we look at the spiders, same thing, eventually, 208, a lot of support there. Diamonds, we're just below resistance there. And then let's take a look at the NASDAQ here. Cash index has that 45.36 level up overhead. If we look at the NASDAQ, so it's a little quiet here. So I'm looking at these indexes like, okay, they have obviously come a long way pretty fast. They're taking a little bit of a break today post FOMC. In fact, if we take a look at the VIX here has started coming back down. So the question is, what happens the rest of the week? Well, tomorrow I'm getting on an airplane to China about noon. For those of you that have followed me for any length of time, for whatever reason, it seems like about 80% of the time when I get on an airplane, the markets go nuts. Now, that doesn't mean that they fall apart. They could rally. I would just expect that Tuesday is going to be a more volatile day. And so the question is, what is going to happen? And so a lot of times I like to look at the NASDAQ futures, potential hedges. I'll look at, like, say, the 39-minute chart. We can see we got a little bit of a kind of a trigger here. Of course, this was right at the end of the day. So it's not as important as if it were at the beginning of the day, but just keep in mind that we could get a pretty quick move back down to 44.16. This would be an area that I would want to focus on, selling spreads and things like that. One of the stocks that I like here is Google. I like this weekly squeeze, and it's come down at some support levels, and it's got a nice squeeze on it, and looking to see if this can get up to about $573. Okay. One thing I noticed today as I was trading, it was actually difficult to get filled on stuff. I would place orders and I kept having to move them and move them and move them, and I actually hadn't really encountered that before. And I was talking to Don Kaufman, and he just made a mention that's like, yeah, I mean, there's some days, especially on a Monday, where, or depending on the option that you're trading, and I was trading options that expired next week on Google. If the volume is really thin, you've got to know how to work the system a little bit. And I was like, all right, so tell me how you do that. And he was showing me a few things. And I was like, all right. And we had talked about this before. I was like, you've got to show people how to do that. And so that's what he's going to do. So Don will be doing this live tomorrow on Tuesday from 2 to 4 East Coast time, which of course is 1 to 3 Central. Now what's really interesting is about 12:45, I'll be heading on an airplane to China, and so Don, you might have some pretty volatile markets to be trading during this, and that'll be excellent for the class. So if you guys aren't familiar with Don, it's Don Kaufman. He used to do swim lessons at TD Ameritrade, and he is going to be talking about the advantages of being a retail trader. Discover how your trades are routed and executed so you know if you're being taken or not. That's huge. Learn to effectively price and route trades in stocks, options, and futures from a trader who spent 15 years running a brokerage firm. So I've learned ways on my own to route trades, okay? But it's a lot different if your background was that of a major brokerage firm because you know how the system works. How to execute trades at better prices so you can offset transaction costs, meaning the more you can narrow the spread, the more you're going to save on transaction costs. How to front run the big guys so you don't get caught paying a higher price at the tail end of their trade. Okay, they do have pockets of explosions that they'll deliberately run up in price, and you want to avoid that. And he's got a ton more information. There's way too much to list here. Again, quick 2-hour class, $97. The idea is that you've got actionable information that with one lot, you could make back that $97 very, very quickly. All right? A very, very wise investment in your own development as a trader. You guys have a fantastic rest of the trading day, and we'll see you at the next update.